If you've ever sprayed a bright silver metallic, especially PPG DBC, Chromabase, Exalta, even some of the cheaper paints like Wanda Crossfire or Nason, you've probably seen this. It looks flawless when you lay down the base, then you pull the trigger on the clear and you watch your metallic crawl. It gets blotchy, it gets dark, it gets those telltale mottling signs where you have like light and dark spots in the clear coat. People online are going to tell you it's static. Maybe it's your paint gun, maybe it's your reducer, maybe it's the fact that you're painting in a really humid environment. Now I tried all of it, and here's what I figured out the hard way. Last night, as I was eating dinner, I was scrolling on Facebook and I found this thread, and it has hundreds of comments. Half of them are wrong. The other half are partially right. Let me show you here what's actually happening. Now you can see here, if you look really closely at these photos, right down here is that blotchy metallic problem that's happening. And I've had this happen so many times. Now the problem here isn't necessarily the base coat. It's not the spray gun that the guy's using. A SATA 1500B RP is actually a fairly decent gun. Does have problems with mottling. I will say that. It's not the most exact gun in the world. But I think the real problem here is how the VOC content in the clear coat interacts with the paint. Now, this specific project is being painted with Matthews, which is kind of an interesting paint to use. This is a polyurethane sign paint, so it's super durable. So by all intents and purposes, it should be okay. And after I asked for some more clarification here, the author of this said that they're using the Matthews gloss clear. So if we come over here and we type this in, and we look down this list of clears, and we see gloss clear here. We click on that. It's a 2.8 or 305 VOC compliant acrylic polyurethane clear coat. And the interesting thing here is if you scroll down to the bottom of this tech sheet, let me get this a little bit bigger here, and we look at this. So the actual VOC is 2.72 to 2.81 pounds per gallon. And the VOC regulatory, less water exempt, is 3 to 3.12 pounds per gallon. Now, why does this matter? Well, what this means is it has a higher VOC content, and that's volatile organic compound. That's like the solvents that are actually in it. Then something like if he was to use this acrylic polyurethane ultra low VOC clear, which is kind of interesting because if you go down here, this only has 0.18 to 1.85 pounds per gallon of the actual RTS of the VOC content. And the reason that this matters is because the VOC content essentially is going to affect what's underneath it more. And I realized this the hard way on my 1967 Firebird when I had to spray it 3 times because of the same issue. And I was using, at the time, U-POL clear coat. So if we look at this is the clear I was using, which is U-POL 2802. Decent clear coat for the money. It actually has a really nice durability and shine to it. But if we scroll down here and we look for the VOC content on this, we read this, and as packaged regulatory VOC is 4.4 pounds per gallon. And once again, that's the VOC. That's a high VOC clear coat. Great for a lot of things, but controlling metallics is not one of those things that it's great at. So if we come back here to this thread about this Corvette, and I read down a lot of these comments, and most of them are going to say that the fix is controlling the static, and they're not necessarily wrong. Static here is a real factor. And sure, an ionizing gun like that Ion X Pro anti-static gun from Luma 3 might significantly help out with the static charge of a Corvette like this. And this is really going to make a notable difference, especially where I'm used to painting, which is all the way up in Alaska, and the humidity is really low. But that's not the whole story here, because I've tried everything. I've tried using an anti-static gun. It helped, maybe like 20%. It's like the last tiny bit. But the metallics still moved. There had to be something else when I was doing this. And here's what nobody on this Facebook thread really mentioned, except for myself. The fix isn't in your base coat. It's not in your booth setup. It's how you apply your clear coat, and this is what matters. And it goes kind of against everything that you've been taught. Now, most painters lay a medium wet clear coat down the first pass, something to lock in the base. And I think that's exactly what's destroying the metallic here in this instance. That first coat is the entire ballgame here. If you get it right, the solvent in your second coat doesn't matter as much. It has nothing to push around because the first layer is cured. Now, here's a Corvette that I painted that had this exact same problem when it rolled into the shop. The owner had painted it and it was blotchy as all get out. I did the same strategy, and I went and I did a light first coat, and then I laid the clear down nice and thick. And I was specifically on this, I was using Lessenol Pro Air Clear with my Iwata WS400. And when it was all said and done, this is ultimately how it ended up looking. Came out pretty nice, right? But it was the same kind of principle. Of course, I wasn't using like a really super fine metallic silver. It was a metallic blue, but it still had the same problems. It was still kind of an interesting base coat in the sense that this was painted with Crossfire, which is like a really budget paint that you can get from Napa Paints. So reading down this little thread here, it's kind of interesting. I used a 2013 Lexus Silver on the 67, sprayed at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. No mottling, 90% overlap, medium wet. Now, I'm not sure why he's painting it at freezing temperatures. But I guess that's kind of the shock of this specific creator. And a lot of people have some legitimately good advice on here. Silvers and gold metallics always seem to be more challenging. Extreme high static charge in a surface can influence some mottling, but you cannot effectively ground a fiberglass panel. Correct. You can and probably should ground the frame to the fiberglass panels that they're attached to, yes. The only way I have seen static dissipated on large fiberglass panels is spraying the panel with alcohol after using the tack cloth. And to that end, I would recommend using a product like this. You can also mix isopropyl alcohol and water 50-50, but this is the easiest way at it. And these come in like a container that's almost like a baby wipe. You peel back the sticker and they're pre-saturated, lint-free towels in there. They're really nice. They're not super expensive. They're not super cheap either, but they work better than anything else I found. And they're a really great way at controlling static. And this would go on after you clean all of your panels, before you lay down your urethane sealer, before you lay down the base and the clear. And it makes a huge difference to do this as the last step after you tack cloth everything. But if you're already past that and you're working with base coat and you're in the base coat stage, you can't put this over the base coat. It's going to kind of affect that negatively. Then you have to change your spraying technique. And this is just one of the many things that I go deep into on school.com as part of this little make it match community that I've put together. I've taken all the last 20 years of little things that I figured out, just like this specific instance, and I've put it into a helpful little course on here, as well as a wide open community where you can chat with other people who are interested in leveling up their paint game the same way. Or you can ask me questions. I check this thing almost every day. Above all else, it's completely free to join. Maybe you want to significantly level up your paint game. Maybe you're just getting started in this whole thing. Maybe you want to learn a couple things more. Well, I invite you to join me over on school.com. Little community, make it match. I've put the link down below in the description just in case you're interested. If not, no worries. Let's get into exactly how I fix these problems on my own projects. So as I scroll down, I see some other comments which are close, but not quite the right fix here. And comments like, by chance, are you cross-coating your base coat? Another guy says, nothing wrong with that gun at all. It's a great base coat, clear coat gun. I would suggest using a slower or extra slow reducer. Also a valid thing. Slow your reducer speed down. It helps with mottling. It lets the metallic fully distribute and wet out before it, locks ultimately in an unpleasant pattern. Another person says, only because nobody else is mentioning it, Matthews is single stage. Well, it's completely possible to spray single stage metallics. You find it much simpler if you used a urethane base coat. Well, I don't think he fully understands. That's not exactly what's going on here. So these kind of go on and on and on. And a lot of the same things are echoed again and again, like use a WS400 for clear. But that's not really the crux of the issue here. So I made a comment on this, and it's actually gotten pretty good feedback, which I'm glad, because people are kind of realizing exactly what this means. So what I said, and this is a hill I'm firmly stuck on top of. So I asked, what clear are you running over it? Asking because, and this is going to sound crazy, I've had a high VOC clear move PPG base on me more than once. My 67 Firebird I had to spray twice before I figured it out. It looked great in the booth, but it came out mottled. Couldn't believe a properly flashed base could still move, but the solvents in the clear were getting in there and shifting things. What finally fixed it? I stopped bombing my first wet coat. 2 really light tack coats of clear, almost a mist. Like, it looks really nasty. It's not what you want to see. But let each one tack off completely. So you want to touch a piece of masking paper or something adjacent to the panel you're painting. Just take a gloved hand, like a nitro glove on your finger, and tap on that paint on the paper. And it should be tacky like the back of a piece of masking tape. Not so tacky that it strings off, like if you touch some wet honey and it would string off. You don't want that. And it shouldn't be so dry that if you touch it, there's no tack at all. Because if you do that, then you better hurry, because you're running out of time before that recoat window closes on your clear coat. Once they're fully tacked off properly, then start wetting it out with your following coats. By the time the wet stuff lands, the surface is already sealed in by the lighter coats, and the clear solvent can't reach the base anymore. 3rd time on the Firebird, I did that. And it laid out perfect. And I've had so much fun over the years. Ultimately, this paint job lasted for about 10 years until I got tired of it. I stripped the whole car down and I turned it into this. But that's a story for another day. Now on the gun, personally, I run a SATA 1500B solve, and I freaking love that thing for most jobs. I use it for sealer, for base coat, you name it. It's great, but I'll be honest, it can be really tricky with fine metallics like that silver. The DV1 would be a great gun, or a Tekna base coat. These are the two guns that I found over the years that like work better than anything else, especially at controlling really tricky metallic distributions. And I'm talking about super fine silvers like this, golds, some of the really dark metallic charcoal colors are really tricky as well. And then weird blues and some of the reds, like tricoat reds that have a silver base element in them. Also really important to get the base coat laid down right. A couple bonus things while I'm typing. This is the last part that I put in here. Throw a halogen light or two on, or an infrared lamp on these panels for 15 to 20 minutes before you spray the clear coat. Fiberglass doesn't help with the cure like steel does, so you have to bring the heat in yourself, especially with polyurethane like Matthews. Fiberglass holds static like a balloon on a sweater, and that's part of why your curves are mottling worse than the flats. Try an ionizing gun as well. And this has got some pretty positive replies on it. And this is something that I like to see. And at least the person who's running this thread commented on this. It's like, thanks, Aaron. Good advice. What's an ionizing gun? I'm using Matthews Gloss Clear, which I pulled up here earlier. So I explained real quick what the static gun does and stuff like that. So, and then somebody else commented on here, Aaron, I have done a first mid-wet coat before flash and then get wet with it. You're right. Yeah. So that's pretty cool to see. So I'm very curious how this all turns out, but that's how I fix issues when I have mottling that kind of appears out of nowhere. You do everything right. You spray your base coat down like it should. Maybe you back your gun up a little bit, you slow down and you do a nice drop coat. Everything looks perfect. You turn off the lights in your space, you grab a flashlight, you look at it, it's nice and even, it's not blotchy, there's no light edges, there's no missed areas. And then you go to put down the clear and suddenly it's just like, and it's blotchy and dark and you're going, what did I do wrong? And that's what I would say. Slow your clear process way down. Do a couple extra coats, but your first two coats should be super dry, like bone dry, like no gloss, just like a light dusting. And then you can start to lay on the clear thicker and thicker, ultimately to build up that layer and it'll flow out. You'll get clear that looks perfect at the end of the day. It's going to look just like how it should, but those first couple layers are going to be on there. You're still going to be adhering to them because it's in that chemical recoat window, so you don't have to worry about it being too dry. But essentially, they're going to flash off and they're going to lock that metallic down. So then the subsequent layers of clear aren't going to cause it to move. That's what I've experienced. And it's a very annoying niche problem. But when it happens, it's something that's going to drive you absolutely up a wall. And it took me a while to figure this out. But since I've been doing this procedure on some of the tricky colors that I spray, I haven't had a single issue with it since. Anyways, that's just one of the many things that I've learned over the last 20 years. And if you're interested in learning more, maybe significantly elevating your paint game, well, I've put a little community together over on school.com. It's called Make It Match. If you're interested, I hope to see you over there, completely free to join. If not, no worries. I'll catch you in the next one.